I am Paula Baker. I'm the site manager for RSPB Scotland Loch Lomond. The word is variety for here because there's just lots of everything. So you're in the woodland and there's red squirrel and there's blue tits and chaffinches, and then you come down to the orchid field, which is full of butterflies and wildflowers, and then you go down to the fen where there's snipe and grasshopper warbler, and then in the winter you get things like the geese using it to roost and hooper swans. And then the oak woodland where there's redstart and tree pipit, and then finally to the loch shore where you'd expect there to be things like swans and ducks. Since the RSPB bought the site, there's always been an ambition to try to use it as a place to bring more people close to nature, because it's so important to have a connection with the natural landscape. And being in the national park, there's obviously a great number of people that actually come to visit this area for wildlife recreation. And we put in some small visitor facilities, but always the question we would get was, well, can we get down to the loch shore? How do we get to the fen? All that's a really nice bit of woodland, but I don't know how to get down to it. So when we are putting together plans of what we would like to do with the site, that one of the key things was connecting the small paths that we have at the top of the site by our car park down to the loch shore path. The contractors had to firstly work their way in from our existing path down to the fen, and in that process they were creating the first section of path through the orchid field, which is stone rolled, and then they used that to transport all of the materials to build the boardwalk, which is about 400 metres and took them about half of the whole entire time the whole of the rest of the path was being constructed. And at some points I think they had about 8 people working on that, because they had to cut all of the recycled plastic timbers, lay out the frame, and then work their way along with the decking boards, and then come back and finish that all off with the kickboards at the side to stop everybody from falling over the edge. And then at the same time that was happening, at the other end of the site, they were transporting materials in almost near the loch shore, dropping them off and working their way back in the other direction to meet the boardwalk at the other end. So that's a stone path there as well. What we wanted to achieve with this project was to try and create something where it was as accessible as it could possibly be within the restrictions of the landscape. And we've already seen an increase in the numbers of visitors coming here, and the feedback that we've had has been absolutely fantastic. And I think one of the reasons for that is because we have got not only great habitats and wildlife, but also that fantastic view out towards the loch. And it's in quite a compact area, very accessible, and people are just really enjoying it.